So you probably heard the saying before that it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? But is that really true? In today's video, I want to share with you my perspective. You can let me know what you think about the situation. But first, let's talk about why people say this in the first place. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, if an employee refers a candidate for a job, that increases their chances of getting hired by 12%. So hard data shows that who you know gives you an edge. And then you have nepotism. So this is hiring or promoting family or friends over more qualified candidates. So it might seem unfair, but let's keep it real. We don't live in a perfectly fair world. And I'm sure that many people have seen that show before, Shark Tank. So many of the sharks, they'll say, with my network, I can get your product into major retail stores. So there's no denying that connections can be beneficial or even life-changing. Now, I want to give you my perspective, and this is a little bit more information about me. So my parents immigrated to the United States of America from South Korea, and when they came, they had no connections, they had no money. And I was born here in the US. So after I finished high school, I went to college. I did not go to an Ivy League school. I went to a state school. And at that state school, I didn't join a fraternity. So when I got my first job out of college, I did not have Ivy League connections. I didn't have frat bros hooking me up with a job, nor friends or family. And when I started my business, I started from scratch. I had 0 clients. I didn't have any angel investors backing me up. And yet, in my opinion, I became financially successful. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to inspire, because I know that many people are just like me, where they don't have connections. But the truth is that in order to succeed, you don't have to know. You don't have to have those connections of rich or powerful or influential people. Yes, those are helpful, and there are advantages to that, but they're not necessary. Now, I want to tell you this. I want to expand on my story so that you can understand me better. So I am an introvert. But before we go any further, I want to clarify what that means, because most people, even dictionaries, they don't quite understand what that means. What's an introvert? What's an extrovert? Okay, so here's what it means. If you're an introvert and you go to a social interaction, it drains you. If you're an extrovert and you go to a social interaction, then it energizes you. So an introvert can be charming, well-spoken, they can be outgoing, but only for so long, because after a certain amount of time, they just get drained. They lose their energy, they get depleted. And then they turn on the don't talk to me mode. And of course, there are introverts that can be socially awkward. For those people, when they're at a social gathering, it's the same thing. As time goes on, they're gonna get tired, and they're gonna go from awkward to creepy, most likely. Now, I want to point this out to you. This is very important. Just because you're extroverted, it doesn't mean that you're good with people. You can be an extrovert and socially awkward. So for example, I have a good friend. He's a great guy, but just doesn't really pick up on social cues. But okay, anyways, he's an extrovert. If we go to social events, he goes in with just a regular amount of energy, making a lot of people feel uncomfortable. But at the end of the event, he walks away even more pumped up, more hyper, just more excited, just energized. And he's like, what do you want to do after this? And I'm like, I'm drained. Like, I need to go home. So essentially, that is the difference. And I want to tell you this about me. I am very self-aware. I know myself. So if I go to a social event, I can be charming, I could be well-spoken for up to 2 hours. That is my limit. After that, I get exhausted, my energy just gets drained, and it's just downhill from there. If it's 3 hours, then I'm usually just giving 1-word responses. If it's 4 hours, if I'm obligated to stay 4 hours or more, then I'm usually just giving noises like, things like that. Now, I want to tell you this. This is just my opinion. I don't know how you feel about this. So when I was building my business, I did not go to those networking events. I cannot stand those. They drive me crazy. And more recently, just a few days ago, there was a company that solicited me. They're like, we want to sponsor your channel. And they're like, we'll fly you out to New York. We'll network. You can meet our CEO. We'll put you in a fancy hotel. You'll have a great time. And I'm just thinking Like that's not a great time. That's not fun for me. I'd rather be at home and play with my dog. So listen, again, that's just me. But if you don't want to go out of your way to network, I mean, I get it because, I mean, I don't want to. Obviously, in some professions, let's just say in real estate, if you're real estate agents, I mean, that's kind of your job. So what can you do, right? Now, I want to end with this by giving some advice. So everyone has a network, whether that's family, friends, coworkers, former coworkers, everyone has a network. Try to make the most of the connections that you have. So if you need help with something, like whatever you're trying to achieve, maybe your direct connections cannot help you, but maybe they know someone in their network that can. I know sometimes, I mean, a lot of people, they do not want to ask for help because they don't want to impose. But there are a lot of people in your network that probably would be happy to help you, just genuinely and sincerely. So ultimately, who you know helps, but you can become successful without having any connections. So that was my personal experience. I thought this was a very important topic. I wanted to address it. Please let me know what you think. Please subscribe. I thank you for the support, and I wish you a very nice day. Take care.